Yo, what's up everybody? Back with another video. Um as you can see from the title, you know what this is going to be about. It's going to be about Lazarus. Surprise. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's going to be about Lazarus. I finished watching it last season. I was watching when it aired, so I literally finished watching it when the last episode came out. Maybe I think a couple of days after because um to be honest, I wasn't super hooked on the show. It was a good show, but a little overhyped for me. And I'm gonna get into all that. I'm gonna get into my opinion, what I thought about it, and try to see what you guys think as well. Because I don't know, I have a couple harsh things to say about it, but I feel like it's all based on perspective of how you watched it and why you watched it. But yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about. Here we go. So, Lazarus, obviously. Oh my god, surprise. So, Lazarus, if y'all haven't seen it, go watch it. I'm not gonna spoil anything about it. Basically, it's a story about this guy. His name is right here. His name is Skinner. He creates a drug. It's a painkiller, but it's like supposed to stop all your pain. Like if you're emotionally depressed, it stops that. It stops regular pain. It's supposed to be like a super drug that just fixes you of everything. It's called Hapno. And essentially what happens is Skinner disappears. 3 years later, he comes back and he tells everyone, "Oh, if you took Hapna, it was actually uh, a lethal drug that takes time to process in your body and will eventually kill you." And he came back to tell everyone that 3 years after Hapna got to everyone, and it was just like everyone ate it. I mean, everyone took it. Like everyone tried it. So basically, like humanity was damn near gonna go extinct. This also takes place in the way future, 2048. Is whenever you can see right here. Is I'm pretty sure when the drug was made. 2052 is like when everything takes place. With 3 years later, everyone's like, "Holy shit, what the fuck's going on?" But yeah, that's basically what it's about. And because of that, the government enlists this group of people called Lazarus, who was with Axel, Christine, Elena, Hayden, and Leland. That's the group of 5 people that were assigned to actually find Skinner. The only way to find a cure for Hapna in the amount of time that no one dies is to find Skinner, because he has the antidote. But he said the only way you can save anyone is if you can find me. And those 5 were tasked to find him, and that's what the show was about. When I was getting into it, when I first watched it, before I watched it and I learned about what it was about, I was actually super interested. That was before I knew they were gonna be Cowboy Bebop maxing. Before I knew that, whenever I found out what it was about, I was like, "Oh shit, cool." I was looking into it. Then I seen that it was made by it was being directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, the guy who directed Cowboy Bebop. And I was like, okay. And I seen the art style. And I was like, okay, this is giving very like Cowboy Bebop. This was literally this like you can see what I looked up, but this is what I seen. This specific image is what I seen, and I was like, okay, they really coming strong with this Cowboy Bebop type of vibe. And it was, as you can see, it's like you can tell what they were trying to go for. And because of that, because I came into the anime watching it as a Cowboy Bebop type show. Like they were trying to make it like Cowboy Bebop. It was supposed to be, in my mind, it sounds kind of far fetched now, but back when I first watched it, I was like, okay, it's gonna be like a damn near almost as good as Cowboy Bebop, because that's what I heard from a lot of people. That's what the hype was sounding like when it was airing, and it wasn't that. Honestly, it wasn't that. I can definitely see the inspiration from Cowboy Bebop. The animation, shout out to Mappa, fucking damn near fucking in crazy 4 or 5 year run they're on, by the way. But shout out to Mappa. They did a decent job on animation. I'm not gonna say great. There were a couple scenes where I was a little iffy about. The fight choreography was solid though. but yeah, I found out it was a Cowboy Bebop, and I went into and then I started watching the show, kind of comparing it. I wasn't watching Lazarus for Lazarus. I ended up watching Lazarus because it's like Cowboy Bebop, and I love Cowboy Bebop. I loved what everybody else loved about Cowboy Bebop. I love the soundtrack, the voice actors. I actually, matter of fact, because I love the dub of Cowboy Bebop so much, I watched Lazarus dubbed. It's not comparable. Cowboy Bebop's dub completely negs. Lazarus's dub was just it was just robot-y. It's just you could tell when you were reading the scenes, a couple of the voice actors, not no shade on any of them. It wasn't bad voice acting, but compared to Cowboy, like I said, I made the mistake watching it, comparing it to Cowboy Bebop, and it was just I was just I don't know. I had critical opinions about the voice acting because Cowboy Bebop's voice acting was so perfect, and it was so ahead of its time too, that this voice actor it was really subpar compared to that. But yeah, I watched the dub, and you might ask, "Oh my god, if you didn't like the dub, why didn't you just switch the sub?" I think because I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, but I think the sub had the same voice. There were a couple sub voice actors that also did Cowboy Bebop, but I don't think it was the same for the dub. And you might ask, why didn't I watch sub? I watched Cowboy Bebop dub. That's why I wanted to watch this dub. That's one reason. Second reason, this is technically an Adult Swim type of show. And I don't know, I feel weird watching Adult Swim type of shows subbed. Like I watched Samurai Champloo dubbed. It was dubbed because it's kind of like, it just kind of has that vibe. And yeah, but like I was saying, I watched it because it was like a Cowboy Bebop type of show, and that's the mistake that I made. But I'm gonna let me go through everything. Let me go through everything compared to Cowboy Bebop, and then I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna give you a big but at the end of this. But well, I said that and I said but. Anyway, um, so the first couple episodes were solid. I really liked how similar to Cowboy Bebop, every single member of the group had their episode or their two episodes, their story. And I feel like that's one thing Cowboy Bebop did really well, explaining the background of the characters, and that's why I was so in love with Cowboy Bebop because it did such a good job explaining each character individually and why they matter, like why they're such important pieces of the puzzle. And Lazarus did do that, but the big problem with them doing that, okay, between the two, the big problem of that is, show y'all this right here. Cowboy Bebop had 26 episodes to talk about all the characters, have a subplot that goes into the main plot, beautiful side stories, but also, in fairness to Lazarus, Lazarus is an overall story that is getting wrapped up as time goes on and each character is introduced. Cowboy Bebop's they have the main plot is a subplot for every episode, and each episode has its own plot until the end where everything converges. And the main plot being the subplot was so nice because every time a character's story was talked about, um the subplot was somehow mentioned, and that's what gave it more suspense. Like, oh my god, like what's really the big story behind Spike? That's why it was so good. But they were only able to do that because it was 26 episodes. That's a lot. That's a lot of episodes. Well, not a lot, but that's way more compared to 13. And I feel like that's a very big reason why Lazarus suffered in that aspect. I feel like I definitely saw the effort. Every single person got their own episode. I saw the effort. I was like, okay, this is cool. I see what they're doing. But whenever the episodes were finished, and I knew how long this show was gonna be. I looked it up to be sure, and I knew it was gonna be 13 episodes. I was like, I can see where it's gonna go. Like just bam, 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 and that's what happened towards the end. The last besides the last episode, the 4 episodes before the last episode aired, they were just pushing and pushing, and it was a lot. I feel like they cramped a lot in a small amount of time, and it's a problem that a lot of anime suffer with. A lot of really good animes with a lot of potential always end up suffering because they're only 13 episodes, they're only 12 episodes, where you watch them And if they had more time, they could have done so much more with the story. And I feel like that's one big thing Lazarus suffered from. That was a really big difference between Cowboy Bebop and Lazarus was the episode time. It didn't allow them to do what they did. Also, I will say Lazarus was it was there was no subplot behind each episode. Each episode wasn't different. There was a main goal in the story, which super unique story. And if y'all have ever seen Psychopaths, great anime. I highly recommend it. If y'all ever seen Psychopaths, this is almost closer to Psychopaths than it is to Cowboy Bebop. It's kind of like a mix of the two, but not in a good way because I don't think Lazarus was that good, or it was good. It just had a lot of potential, and because of that potential, it got overhyped, and it ended up not being as good as people thought. Me included. I didn't think it was that good. I wasn't as good as people thought. But yeah, that's a big problem that I had watching it. I was like, there's a lot going on in these episodes. I wish they had more time, and I feel like that would have made a big difference. But moving past that, the plot was good. I will say for sure, plot was good. It was super unique. I was into it. I was like, okay. It was suspenseful too at times. It wasn't always like, it wasn't that type of story where everything's gonna work out in the end, or everything's gonna be great. It wasn't that type of story. It was super suspenseful, and I actually liked that. I didn't know. It was hard to predict what was gonna happen, and as the plot did develop, there were a lot of things that I didn't expect. Like that towards the end, when in the ending when they explained why every character is to like why these five were picked. That was one question I had throughout the whole show. I was like, why these five? Why these specific five people? Why are they Lazarus? In the end, you find out, and I really loved how the plot really came together. They did a really good job, and I give them credit too because they didn't have a lot of episodes to do what they did, and the last episode really, really carried because the way they explained it, it was perfect. Everything made sense. So the plot was good. World building was also good. I think the world building was great. I think they set everything up really well. I feel like my only problem was I don't know. Like when I was watching it, it was future. Like you can tell it's a futuristic show. It's just I don't. It was something about it. Like it was futuristic. It was and you could tell like you could tell the type of vibe they were going for. But I don't know. It was just something missing from that futuristic vibe. And maybe like I said, maybe because I was comparing it to Cowboy Bebop, and Cowboy Bebop said way in the past. This is technically supposed to be way in the future, if I'm not mistaken. Because Cowboy Bebop was kind of futuristic because they were in space, but I can tell the type of vibe they were going for. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but something felt missing from that type of world building. But yeah, anyway, everyone got their story. The world building was solid. The characters, that's one big thing that they had that they did really good. It'd be hard to have a bad set of characters, especially if you're trying to be like Cowboy Bebop and it being directed by Watanabe. They're gonna be good characters, and they were good characters. They were all unique. Everything was nice. Um, I like it's just I don't know. I couldn't stop comparing it to Cowboy Bebop, and that's my fault. I shouldn't have been doing that, but here I am, finished with the show, and I mean it's hard not to compare when it's the same director. It's a lot of similarities. The soundtracks were very similar with the jazz type of theme, the jazz high suspense type of fighting theme. The animation was it was solid. It was a couple iffy scenes. That elevator fight scene, if y'all know what I'm talking about, it was kind of when I was watching it was cool. It was cool. It wasn't like holy fuck, this animation is crazy, which is what I would think, which is how I would think I would sound watching a closely choreographed fight like that in front of each other's face. Like I would be like, holy fuck, this is amazing. It was cool. It was I expected a little more, to be honest, but yeah. So, but Lazarus did its thing. It's that's really the main points. I mean, the antagonist was cool. I feel like I feel like when I was watching the antagonist, he felt a little forced into the plot because of already what the big plot was. I feel like him, like the antagonist doing what the antagonist did, it was just kind of like it didn't make sense to me in my head because it's like, why the fuck would the antagonist be doing this? Like, why does he care so much if the world's about to fucking end? You know, that was a big thing to me. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. I get there's an antagonist on top of the plot, but why? Like, bro, like you took half of the two. You're gonna die if we don't find this fool. And I don't know. That felt kind of forced, but honestly, my final verdict, right? Those are the main things I really wanted to talk about. I'm sure I missed a couple things. I'm still trying to get better at this whole YouTube and digesting all this anime and stuff and talking about them. Eventually I want to get to the point where I can like really script and really get into it and mark out specific points in the video where I talk about everything. But right now I'm just giving my overall opinion about what I think, and I feel like if Lazarus had more episodes, it would have been a lot better. I don't think more episodes. I don't think 26 episodes would have made all the problems that I have with it go away. But I feel like with 26 episodes, it would have been at least an 8 out of 10 in my book. I think and that's good. That's a good anime. But I think where it sits, I wouldn't give it a 7.2 like it is on. I give it maybe a little higher, like a 7.3 or a 4. But I don't know. I will say, if you like crime, if you like these type of shows, futuristically crime, if you like psychopaths, and you come in to watch this show, if you watch this show, not comparing it to Cowboy Bebop, don't compare it to Cowboy Bebop. Come into the show fresh. It's a new anime, and and just don't compare it to Cowboy Bebop. Watch it for itself. It's not a bad show. I would If you were watching it based on that, you could arguably, I think, give it almost an 8. Maybe not an 8, a little lower, depending on what your taste is and what you really think is what you determine a good anime is. I think it would have been a lot better if I didn't compare it to Cowboy Bebop, and that's on me. I wish I didn't, but it's hard not to. I mean, everything is just it's fucking the show's Cowboy Bebop maxing. Like, come on, bro. Look at this shit. Like, are we serious? Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. It's Cowboy Bebop maxing. It's hard not to compare it. But I did it. It was kind of a mistake. If I watched the show for itself, it would have been solid. It would have been solid, and it just wasn't for me. I give it like a 7.4. It was a good watch. Would I watch it again? Fuck no, I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't watch it again. But if you watch it and you liked it, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. It was a good show. I just, it is a lot of things, a lot of reasons why I see it struggled. And, you know, I really wish, I really wish they had more episodes to work with. I think there could have been it could have been so much more from this show. I don't know. Like I said, it wouldn't have fixed all the problems. I don't think it would have been the next Cowboy Bebop. Like that's the potential that I had in my head. Like that's the hype that I had coming into this. Like holy fuck, this is the next Cowboy Bebop. It was not that, and I don't think it would have. It even with 26 episodes, I don't think it would have been that. But it would have been its own show, and it would have been great. A great twin. Like it would have been one of those shows like Summertime Rendering. Like no one talks about Summertime Rendering. I think that's one of the best shows that's came out the last 5 years. One of the most unique. I loved Summertime Rendering. Summertime Rendering is amazing. This is the kind of show that this would have been a Summertime Rendering type of show. It wouldn't have been generational, but it would have been a great watch. Like I would tell my friends to go watch it, and people, what the fuck is that? Lazarus is a good show, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone who wants to convert to Cowboy Bebop. But I would say if you like crime, if you like those type of shows, I think it's a good show, and I think it had a good plot. I think the plot really carried, to be honest. Like that's I love what they did with that. It's just they didn't have enough episodes to work with. I feel like that's just the biggest thing and biggest problem. But I don't know. That's my opinion. Overall, I'd give it like a 7.4. I think a 7.4 is solid. Um, I wasn't like even when I was watching it, like after the first like couple episodes, it was just Oh, matter of fact, let me before I finish. One thing that pissed me the it's a spoiler though. Okay, huge spoiler warning. Huge spoiler warning. What the fuck was this romantic subplot? Dude, that was so fucking ass. I wasn't gonna crash out this episode. I mean, this fucking video, but what the fuck was that? I was watching. I was like, when Axel was in the fucking hospital, I was like, okay, cool. I get it. And when he hit the what I forgot what he said. Shorty, like he was like, is there anything that you would regret or something like that? And Christine fucking kissed him. I was like, okay. There's fucking 2 episodes left. Where are we going with this? Why the fuck would they do this? Like, why would they add this? That was trash. Oh, I didn't want to fucking crash out this. I didn't want to crash out. But that was trash. That was fucking ass. I'm not letting that slide. That was garbage. I don't know why the fuck they did that. Literally, she randomly kissed him. The show ends. There's no clips of them together afterwards. That was it. That's all it was. Just a kiss. That was a bad romantic subplot. Matter of fact, 7.2 is not bad. I might give it a 7. That shit pissed me off when I watched that. Matter of fact. Fuck all that. Fuck what I said. That shit pissed me off. I was like, what is the point? What are we doing, bro? Why are we kissing with 1 or 2 episodes left and then doing nothing with it? That's so fucking stupid. And then I don't know. It got a little unrealistic too. This guy got a spear through his arm and then blew up a building and fucking fought through the falling building to kill his arch nemesis. Who now like I'm talking about it and it's getting worse and worse and worse. Actually, I was being too fucking nice, low key in the beginning. It's low key getting more and more and more bad. I don't know if there's any other beef I have. Was there any other bullshit? Oh, I did. One thing I forgot to mention about the world building. I think it's cool how they went around the world. Like they went to Pakistan. That's me, bro. That's me. Oh my god, that's me. They went to Pakistan. That was cool. They went all around the world. That was one thing that was cool about the world building. But yeah, yeah, bro. I don't know. That shit pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all know I'm a fucking bitch. I'm a stupid bitch when it comes to fucking any little bit of romance, bro. If there's a side hug in an anime, I'm looking at that shit like. Like that's how I'm looking at that show. Like that's how I'm looking at that romance. You know what I'm saying? So, if what's it called? If that's the romance you're gonna fucking show, and then not do nothing with it with 1 episode left. That pissed me off. Fuck that. That was trash. I don't know why the fuck they did that. Matter of fact, fuck this show. Don't watch it. Watch it if you like what I said earlier. But yeah, they did have that romance. If you skip this whole part for the what's it called? The spoilers are over right now. Spoilers are done. So yeah, I'm sure no one gives a fuck about spoilers for the show anyway. But yeah, that a black character too. If you're interested in that. That was cool. Oh, he's Nigerian. I didn't know that. They didn't explain any of their backgrounds. Like I know Christine's Russian. Elena's like I don't know. I didn't know he was Nigerian. And Axel's Brazilian, I guess. I didn't know he was fucking Brazilian. Maybe they did say that. I know for sure they didn't say Hayden was fucking Nigerian. But yeah, there's a black guy in there too. That's cool. Hey, it's nice whenever animes do that. So that's always cool. Not enough shows do that. I remember what was the last show that really did a good job with that? I think Fire Force. I forget the dude's name. That was a cool ass character. Honestly, I think Hayden was he was iffy. I don't know. I didn't really like his voice actor. No shade. I don't know. Like he was one of the more robot-y characters. Anyway, this video is getting too long. That was my opinion, honestly. Fuck this romantic subplot. Spoiler. Fuck that romantic subplot. No spoiler because y'all don't know who I'm talking about. Spoiler. That shit was trash. Watch the show if you like it. It was Cowboy Bebop maxing. It didn't do a good job at it. They needed more episodes. Animation was mid on Mappa standards. And yeah. Also, that episode that they made him a femboy was weird. I'm sorry. That shit was crazy. I don't know why they did that. It wasn't cool, but that's it.